Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mandaji. Very nice. So,
Thank you.
I'll start reading now. I'll share my screen. Okay, so yesterday we read that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling to the forest of Jharkhand, and while he was traveling there, he engaged even all the animals in the forest. They joined in chanting, dancing, and all together, all the tigers and all the deer and everyone together. So that is how the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was engaging everyone in the Sankirtan. Okay, now we'll continue to read. On his way back from Vrindavan, he first came to Prayag, where he met Rupa Goswami along with his younger brother Anupam. Then he came down to Banaras for 2 months. He instructed Sri Sanatana Goswami in the transcendental science. The instruction to Sanatana Goswami is in itself a long narration, and full presentation of the instruction will not be possible here. The main ideas are given as follows. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the way back from Vrindavan, he met Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. There's Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, like that. There are six Goswamis. Those who are principal followers, the disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Rupa Goswami he met in Prayagraj and Sanatan Goswami he met in Banaras. And then there is 2 months, there is a discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then Sanatan Goswami. This is famous as Sanatan Siksha. Like he gave the Siksha, he taught all this transcendental science. So the idea, the summary of that is this. Sanatan Goswami, formerly known as Sakar Malik. It's like a Muslim name, right? They're not Muslim, they're born in a Brahmana family only. But in those days, it was a Muslim rule. And the Sanatan Goswami and Rup Goswami, both the brothers, they're actually highly educated. They knew many, many languages, and because of their education, they are appointed as the ministers under the rule of Nawab Hossein Shah, a Muslim ruler. So they are like the chief minister and the finance minister under the rule of Nawab. So when they are doing the job for the Nawab, so they had to change their name also. So that is why you see that their name earlier as Shakar Malik was in the cabinet service of the Bengal government under the regime of Nawab Hussain Shah. He decided to join with the Lord and thus retired from the service. On his way back from Vrindavan, when he reached Varanasi, the Lord became the guest of Sri Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar, assisted by a Maharashtra Brahmana. At that time, Varanasi was headed by a great sannyasi of the Mayavada school named Sripad Prakashananda Saraswati. When the Lord was at Varanasi, the people in general became more attracted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on account of his mass Sankirtan movement. Wherever he visited, especially the Vishwanath temple, thousands of pilgrims would follow him. Some were attracted by his bodily features, and others were attracted by his melodious songs glorifying the Lord. So it was on in Banaras. He was going in the city doing the Kirtan, and then thousands and thousands of people were following him. Now, this Banaras was a seat of learning, and especially for all these great sannyasis and especially the impersonalist Mayavadis. So, one of the very famous Mayavadi at that time is Prakashananda Saraswati. So, the Mayavadi sannyasi designate themselves as Narayan. Varanasi is still overflooded with many Mayavadi sannyasis. Some people who saw the Lord in his Sankirtan party considered him to be actually Narayan. And this report reached the camp of the great sannyasi Prakashanand. Okay, see how this Mayavadis, their understanding is that ultimately we are all God. We have forgotten now. So the goal of life is to ultimately go and merge into God, become one with God. That is how they're understanding. And also they practice this as soon as somebody takes the sannyas, renounced order. Then they think that now, after taking sannyas, you have become as good as Narayan. So they start addressing each other as Narayan. So they greet each other like Om Namo Narayan, like you are as good as Narayan, and the other person will also you are also as good as Narayan. So this is the kind of understanding and the practice that these Mayavadis they do that. So in India, there is always a kind of a spiritual rivalry between the Mayavad and Bhagavad school. So Mayavadis are like impersonalists, and Bhagavad school like we are all followers of Bhagavad tradition. So this is like the more of like personal understanding of the Lord. So there's a constant debate is going on between these two groups. And thus, when the news of the Lord reached Prakashananda, he knew that the Lord was a Vaishnava sannyasi, and therefore he minimized the value of the Lord before those who brought him the news. He deprecated the activities of the Lord because of his preaching the Sankirtan movement, which was, in his opinion, nothing but religious sentiment. Prakashanand was a profound student of the Vedanta, and he advised his followers to give attention to the Vedanta and not to indulge in Sankirtan. Right? So he's kind of, belittle Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he's a sannyasi, but he's saying, hey, what is this sannyasi? Simply just chanting and dancing. Sannyasi means he should sit and then read the scriptures, the Vedantas, very deeply and discuss and all of that they should do. Why is just simply like sentimentalist, religious sentimental, and going and dancing and jumping and like that. So one devotee Brahman who became a devotee of the Lord did not like the criticism of Prakashananda. And he went to the Lord to express his regrets. He told the Lord that when he uttered the Lord's name before the sannyasi Prakashananda, the latter strongly criticized the Lord. Although the Brahmana heard Prakashananda uttering several times the name Chaitanya, the Brahmana was astonished to see that the sannyasi Prakashananda could not vibrate the sound Krishna even once, although he uttered the name Chaitanya several times. See how they are so gyanis, so much, but still they don't have enough credits, spiritual credits to chant the name of the Lord. So the sannyasi, he couldn't even chant the name of Krishna. Okay, so now I'll ask different devotees to read and go. Ravi, you want to read?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Go.
Yeah, the Lord smilingly explained the devotee Brahmana why the Mayavadi cannot utter the holy name of Krishna. The whole Mayavadis are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, although they utter always Brahma, Atma, or Chaitanya, etc. And because they are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, they are actually unable to utter the holy name of Krishna. The name Krishna and the personality of Godhead, Krishna, are identical. There is no difference in the absolute realm between the name, form, or person of the absolute truth, because in the absolute realm, everything is transcendental bliss. There is no difference between the body and the soul for the personality of Godhead, Krishna. Thus, he is different from the living entity who is always different from his outward body. Because of Krishna's transcendental position, it is very difficult for a layman to actually know the personality of Godhead, Krishna, his holy name and fame, etc. His name, fame, form, and pastimes all are one and the same transcendental identity, and they are not knowable by the exercise of the material senses.
Okay, now this is a very important point. See, all these Mayavadis, is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, we'll see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is said Mayavadi Krishna Pradi. So Mayavadis are their offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna. They can say all this name Brahma, Atma, Chaitanya, all, but chanting Krishna's name is difficult for them because they're the offenders, so they can't chant. So they might be like great Gyanis, they can talk about the Vedantas, but still they can't chant the holy name of the Lord. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu strictly warns the devotees. He says, Mayavadi bhashya shunile hoy sarvanash. It's in Bengali. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if somebody listens to all these Mayavadi interpretations and their explanations, hoy sarvanash, then our bhakti will be sarvanash, completely destroyed. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu basically wants that one should maintain distance from all these impersonalists. Don't listen to their explanations that you will go and become one with the Lord. Ultimate reality is that Brahma only the light. God is not a person. God doesn't have the hands. God doesn't have the legs, like that. So this is a like offense to the Lord. Lord is a person, but somebody describing the Lord, no, you don't have the head, you don't have the hands, you don't have the legs, and like that, the how person will be offended. So this is why these Mayavadis are not even qualified to chant the holy name of the Lord. Okay. Next, somebody should read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
The transcendental relationship of the pastimes of the Lord is the source of still more bliss than one can experience by realization of Brahman or by becoming one with Supreme. Had it not been so, then those who are already situated in the transcendental bliss of Brahman would not have been attracted by the transcendental bliss of the pastimes of the Lord. After this, a great meeting was arranged by the devotees of the Lord, in which all the sannyasis were invited, including the Lord and Prakashananda Saraswati. In this meeting, both the scholars, the Lord and Prakashananda, had a long discourse on the spiritual values of Sankirtana movement, and a summary is given below. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So here some understanding is given. Like, so what is happening? Just to again track the context, what is going on. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Banaras, and this Prakashananda Saraswati, it's a great Mayavadi sannyasi, very famous at the time. And then he heard the news of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing kirtan and dancing. He couldn't appreciate. And then one of the Brahmana, who was the follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotee, he didn't like that criticism that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a great, and of course, is the Lord himself. And this Mayavad is, so he was little feeling sad, though he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, oh yeah, Mayavadis are like that. They cannot appreciate all these personal activities like chanting the holy name, singing, doing the kirtan, doing the seva, like that, discussing about the pastimes and all of that, you know. Because their understanding is all impersonalism. But then Prabhupada is bringing this understanding that unless somebody is situated in that transcendental relationship of the pastimes of the Lord, unless we feel that personal connection with the Lord, that gives the real bliss. They simply say that no, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, I'm Brahma. I am Brahmasmi. I'll go and merge into Brahman. There's no fun in that. Right? You'll get bored. How long you'll be just keep sitting there, oh, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. That is what is your meditation is. I am Brahmasmi, I am Brahmasmi, I am Brahmasmi. Be boring. And then they fall down again. They may fall down if they don't progress further. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying the real, the spiritual joy comes only when we are engaged in this personal discussion, talking about Krishna, discussing Krishna's sweet pastimes and Krishna's teachings, and then serving Krishna personally, in whatever way we can do. This is the real way. So anyway, that was going on. So then a meeting was arranged, and then this Prakashananda Saraswati and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they'll have the conversation now. So you see that how in the Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met another Mayavadi, scholar. Who was that scholar in Jagannath Puri? Let me see who can answer that.
Sarvam Bhattacharya.
Yes,
Sarv-
yes, Sarvabhauma
Mm.
Bhattacharya, he met there. He was also, originally, he was also from the impersonal school, the Mayavada understanding. But when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the 7th day, the discussion happened that, he was narrating all this Vedanta Sutra and all that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't understand your explanation, though I understand the Vedanta very well. And he says, okay, then you tell that what is your understanding. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned him around into a great devotee. So one Mayavadi turned into a great devotee by grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is meeting another Mayavadi sannyasi, Prakashananda Saraswati. And we'll see that how this Prakashananda Saraswati will also, not just alone, because he was a very, very famous sannyasi in Banaras, which was a seat of learning. He has thousands of followers. So we'll see that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will transform his heart from Mayavadi to follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then when Prakashananda Saraswati becomes the follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his thousands and thousands of disciples also become the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is preaching, doing prachar, going, meeting, and then, changing, transforming their hearts like that. So the great Mayavadi sannyasi Prakashananda Saraswati inquired from the Lord as to the reason for his preferring the Sankirtan movement to the study of the Vedanta Sutra. Prakashananda said that it is the duty of a sannyasi to read the Vedanta Sutra. What caused the Lord to indulge in Sankirtan? See, these Mayavadis are their life is a little pretty boring. Like they're too much of intellectual exercise they do. Like keep reading the scriptures whole day, discuss this, that. There's no real joy. So they can't appreciate all that, devotees are chanting, doing kirtan, nicely eating prasadam and all that. So that was his inquiry that why you are preferring that Sankirtan and dancing and singing and then, reading the scriptures as being a sannyasi. So after this inquiry, see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also, his answer is also very interesting answer. I didn't give any philosophical answer to him and why he's reading all this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very humble. He says, after this inquiry, maybe somebody can read. Who wants to read? Jayashree Mataji, want to read?
Hare Krishna, yes. After this enquiry, the Lord submissively replied, I have taken to the Sankirtana movement instead of the study of Vedanta because I am a great fool. The Lord thus represented himself as one of the numberless fools of this age who are absolutely incapable of studying the Vedanta philosophy. The fool's indulgence in the study of Vedanta has caused so much havoc in society. The Lord thus continued, and because I am a great fool, my spiritual master forbade me to play with the Vedanta philosophy. He said that it is better that I chant the holy name of the Lord, for that would deliver me from material bondage. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's answer. He's not talking any philosophically. Ultimately, you read the Vedanta. The conclusion of Vedanta is what? Vedanta with Ved eva chaham. Vedanta krit ved eva chaham. So Krishna has already explained that in the Bhagavad Gita that the conclusion, the purpose of all the Vedas are Vedanta krit. Why the Vedanta are being created? With eva chaham. So that one can know me. So that is the purpose, that ultimately to know and to understand Krishna. And then finally, once you understand Krishna, means naturally you have to engage in Krishna's seva. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not bringing those kind of philosophical explanations at this point. He like trying to be very, very humble. He's saying that, so in the Bengali it comes when this question was asked, so his answer was, he says, Guru more murkh deki karile sashan. Chaitanya was saying, my Guru, he said, you're fool number one, murkh dekhi. And then he told me that Taha nahi Vedanta adhikar. You don't have the right to study the Vedanta, you are fool. So he just chant the holy name. So basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is establishing the Yuga Dharma, that in this Kali Yuga, what is the Dharma is recommended. Reading the scriptures, Vedanta philosophy, and it is not for everyone. First of all, people are fools. Fools means they are spiritually dull-headed people in this modern age. What will understand? Basics also we don't know. So I say no, if people get into this kind of reading, then they'll create the havoc. They created the havoc. They'll just misinterpret and all that. So better just engage everyone in chanting the holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is playing the part of a common man, which is like a fool, foolish, and we say Guru More Murkha Karila Sasha. My Guru told that you are foolish guy and you can read the scriptures. Better you just chant the holy name like that. So we'll see that there are more discussions. So it is very interesting that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, transforming the heart of all these great scholarly Mayavadi people. Like they just keep changing everyone around. And when they're meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then their heart is getting transformed. Okay, so we can stop with this unless anybody has any quick question or any comment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have one question. Prabhuji, although we are reading the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but many times I see that this Mayavadi philosophy comes a lot like explanation that how. So just wanted to know, is my understanding correct that the purpose of this is to let us know that we should not be, that's not the correct path to follow, which the Mayavadis follow. We are not, we should not go on that path. Our path is the Bhagavatam path. Is
Yeah,
that the
that's the purpose. But again, your question is a very valid question. Like we see every now and then Prabhupada keep bringing this discussion. Mayavadis, and sometimes you see that that context is not there. Still, Prabhupada is giving
Yes.
kind of explanations.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Reason is because we don't know the history. There was a time, now just go on the time when Prabhupada was there, and then his spiritual master was there, like in 1900 and in those times. So this Mayavadi influence was very, very prominent in India, especially like the Banaras and all those kind of places. All these great scholars, they are all Mayavadi scholars, so it just spreaded too much. So it was a need of the hour that people has to be educated, because now these great sannyasis, they're all very famous people. This guru, that guru, everybody goes to them and follow them. And their understanding is this Mayavada understanding, which is just against the scriptures. Which is Asat Sastram, Mayavada, Asat Sastram. We read other day that Shankaracharya, he came and he consciously did that. But it is Asat Sat Shastram, it is not the real Shastra. It is Asat Sastra. So it became very, very prominent at one point, especially in those times. So it was the need. It is very important that it has to be again and again, hit the nail. Otherwise, invariably will be influenced by that understanding that, oh, ultimately, you become from Nar, you become Narayan. Like this kind of ideas. Some of us might have heard casually, even in childhood. Oh, ultimately, goal is if from Nar, you become Narayan. Nar se Narayan ban jao. That kind of understanding that you are also God, we are all God, ultimately we'll all become God. Those kind of understanding. So when a common man doesn't have the buddhi, the intelligence to go and read the scriptures and understand and then take out the real essence and the crux, we just follow. So those sannyasis and all those kind of spiritual leaders at that time, they're all Mayavadis. So they're creating that influence. And that is when this Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Maharaj, which is Prabhupada's guru, and then he was very, very strong against all this Mayavada understanding. He will refute them, he'll discuss, debate with them, and very with the sound reasons and the logic from the scriptures, he will refute. In fact, all these great scholars, they'll be terrified, even go closer to Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Maharaj. He was a very, very scholarly, acharya. So people will not even go close to him. That's how we can't, in fact, debate with him. So Prabhupada adopted that mood from his guru. He was very strong against all this Mayavada, refuting them. And then Prabhupada also took that approach. It was the need. And that is how we are all protected. We have now a solid understanding if we read Prabhupada's books. And what is the real philosophy?
Got it. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think we'll close with this. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. We'll read more tomorrow.
Thank you, Prabhuji.